This conference will now be recorded.
So today we'll be covering Route 53 part of Solutions Architect Associate exam, and we'll be covering these two topics, all the listed topics here. So predominantly Route 53, there will be a good number of questions which involve Route 53 in Solutions Architect Associate exam. And they will be around two topics mainly, and they'll be asking near like some easy questions will be whether it is alias record or CNAME, like which one would be good, a CNAME or an alias record. And the other one would be like which type of routing policies we need to choose among all the other available. Okay, so these two broad questions will come in the exam, but let's just go a step back and see what exactly is Route 53. Okay, so Route 53 in the layman terms, it's a domain name service which is managed by AWS and given to us as like use per basis. Okay, so we need not have to worry about anything, and it fits properly with the AWS infrastructure, whatever they have. So it's very good to use. So what technically domain name service does for us. So let's say we have something called as something.com. Okay, and we type this address in our browser. So what happens is it will do a domain lookup. Okay, so that domain lookup will go to some domain registrar, which in turn internally go to some name servers in the backend. Okay, and the end result would be you will get an IP address back from the server. Okay, so there will be something called as key value pair. So what will happen, something.com will get, let's say, associated with a IP address like 1122.33.44. Okay, so it will do some kind of lookup, and what will happen, because domain service domain DNS does not host any solution. Okay, but what happens is we have our solutions, they'll be running in some different servers. Okay, and servers will have IP addresses. That is like an inherent location for our application. But the clients like us, browsers, they don't like people like us, they don't want numbers to be like remembered. Okay, google.com is at 107 dot something something something. Okay, but they want google.com. Okay, so in that kind of scenarios, what we do is like we create a DNS service, okay, a domain record for that particular solution, which in turn get translated on DNS lookup, and it will be sent back to the browser. Okay, and then what will happen, browser will internally make a request to this resource and get the necessary web page or necessary application exposed on this particular IP address. Okay, so this in layman terms is what a DNS service does. So Route 53 is also a domain registrar and also a DNS service. So it's like combination of two. So what is a domain registrar? Domain registrar is nothing but like you want to buy some fancy name, right? And you can just go and buy it. So whenever someone hits it, so you can add your resources behind it. So whenever someone says like, okay, faultycoder.com, so I have my web server running, so it will get redirected there and it will come up here. Okay, so in simple terms, this is what it is. Now there are certain interesting features available in any DNS server or DNS service. Okay, so the Route 53 is the DNS offering from AWS umbrella, which gets integrated with other AWS services. Predominantly the most used is alias records. So, and also there is one interesting feature which I personally like and is being also like acknowledged pretty much everywhere, that is like you'll have health check kind of offering. Okay, so when we'll talk about failover routing, so we'll see what is health check. Okay, so in just to give you a glimpse, it's like you have some two routes, and let's say you will have one as primary and the other one as secondary. Think of disaster recovery scenario, and let's say your primary site is not responding. So without worrying and without considering anything, you can sleep at night. Let's say if your primary site is not responding, automatically there will be a failover from Route 53 side itself to a secondary side. Okay, and still there will be just maybe a minute or a two, like whatever band like threshold you will set for your health checks, and automatically there will be a failover onto the secondary side, and you can still sleep properly at night. Okay, so it's like adding another layer of failover on your whole application design. So that's where I said in our previous discussions as well, Route 53 is one very good service which gets asked pretty often. Okay, so for our today's demo, what I did is I have created already some 3 instances. Okay, you can create 3 or 4 instances, but I have created 3 instances just to showcase like what exactly it is. And one of my instances is running in Northern Virginia, US East one, and then the other instance of mine is running in Mumbai. Okay, and I have one more instance, if I'm not wrong, it is running in Ireland. I'll show that as well. So before going there, I'll just show you exactly what these instances are doing. So they'll just spit out
the IP address.
So it will also tell you like in which zone they are in.
Okay. Oh, cool.
So they are in IP South 1, and then I also have one in Ireland. Okay, all these of my instances are currently running.
So the simple HTML where showing the IP, and now you also showing the.
Yes, yes.
Is there any native commands in Apache, or which is the?
I just queried the user data. It will tell you like in which domain it is. I can show you the user data script as well. Just give me a look.
Okay.
Okay, and then okay, I am copying this. I'm in Ireland now. So you can see this running in US1. So all my instances are up and running. Okay, that is what I was trying to show. And then after this, let's quickly go to Route 53. So I already have a domain name bought on my name. If you'll go there, you might see like you have to go and buy a domain. Okay, but for me it is there, so I can show you the demo. So I have a hosted zone. So hosted zone is like your piece of record. So whatever we are going to demo today, it will be around faultycoder.com. Okay, so it's like a domain name entry. And in Route 53, like whatever we do, there is a concept called as record sets. Okay, so everything revolves around record sets. Okay, so let's try to understand a bit more on that. So whenever we do something like something dot gaurav.com or something dot faultycoder.com, okay, so this is my current website which is running. This is the website. Its record type is A, and it is going to this particular server. Okay, is it a good design? No, it is directly pointing to server. If that server fails, there is no failover. Okay, but it was just for the demo purpose for me, so it's still good. Okay, but you can see, so it is translating to perfect. Okay, I might need to check what exactly is happening. Yeah, I have a website here. Correct. Okay, so it is loading now. Okay, then let's try to see something interesting. Let's directly go into record set and see what are all the other offerings. So when we talk about record set, right? So there is something called as parent domain name. Okay, so this is faultycoder.com, right? So this is my root domain name. Okay.
Correct.
So this record is my root domain name. Okay. Now what we are going to create is, so root domain names can only support A records or A++ records. Okay. Canonical records C names does not work on root domain. Okay. Let's say if I give 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll tell you what exactly CNAME is, but just hold on a minute and I'll just talk about CNAME a bit back. Okay, so let's first see bit more exactly, like when you do a faultycoder.com, right? When you hit on faultycoder.com, so what exactly happens in the background? So you will get an IP address, you will do a domain name lookup, and then there will be some response coming from the DNS server, and then your browser will go and hit on top of it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is there is NS lookup in Windows and dig in Mac. Okay, so if you do that, you will get answer from, you can see what exactly goes in the background. Okay,
Right.
so you can see that what it is showing that you will get this IP address back. Okay, so faultycoder.com is getting translated or getting resolved, to be to use the exact term, resolved to this IP address. Okay, so when we see what IP address we had against it, so we can see it is 231, and here we are able to see that same IP address. Okay, so this is where our website is running, and that is how, like, what it did is it queried DNS, and then it got the response back. So this is just one small utility, but the same thing happens behind the browser as well, on the browser. Okay, so means now what we are going ahead with the demo is, like, we'll try to create different records and see what exactly answers we are getting. Okay, so first, before moving there, we'll see like what exactly a working website returns. So this is our parent domain, and we are getting the actual response around it. Okay, now there are certain record types. Okay, so there is something called as A record, there is something called as CNAME, there is something called as 4 times A records, and then there is bit more types of records. So A records, which gets translated into IPv4 addresses. There is something called a CNAME, which get translated into subdomains. Okay, there is no actual existence of a CNAME. Let's say you hit blog.faultycoder.com and you want to translate it to faultycoder.com. Okay, so you can give that, and let's say blog.something.com, and then you give to blog.something.com. So these are two domain names. Okay, what you can do is, if you want users to hit one and all the traffic get translated to second, you can do that. I have a demo here. I can show you exactly what I'm saying. Okay. Then there is something called as 4 times say IPv6 address, and then there are some other domain name records as well, which are not exactly asked or used in the day-to-day life. So let's say you have something as MX record. So when you have a domain name and you want an email address associated with it, let's say I want something as like gaurav@faultycoder.com. Okay, so I'll configure this, and this internally, what will happen, whatever mails are coming which to this domain name, all that will go to my own email server, whatever I have configured with. And then there is something called a CAA, certification authority authorization record. So here what happens is, let's say you took domain name from here, but you don't want to take SSL certificate. Okay, so you want to take SSL certificate from somewhere else, like some third party. So some third party, what will do, they'll query here and they'll see like whether they are having the authority to give you SSL certificate. So it's like bit more on the higher end, and also on use specific scenarios, like some specific scenarios you have to use certain things. So I have attached the line by line one article where you can go and check what are all the other options available. But they are not asked, and they are not also readily used in day-to-day life. They are very application specific. Now, like there is something which is always confusing, that is CNAME. So let's start with CNAME first. Okay, let's see it with the example. So I have created a CNAME record, cname.faultycoder.com. Okay, what I did is, if you see, I translated it into alias.faultycoder.com. Okay, this is another domain name, another name which I have, like another route name. Okay, so if you hit cname faultycoder.com, you will get an answer like alias faultycoder.com. Alias faultycoder.com is pointing to some web server. Okay, so when you hit this, you will go here. When you hit this, you will go here. Okay, so how I created it, I came here, I wrote down like CNAME,
Gotcha.
and all those things, and here I added the value. Okay, so let's see it in action. Okay, so I just copied. Okay, okay, so I'm able to see that I'm able to see the response. Okay, but still, let's do a dig. Okay, before that, you can see that it is AP South 1B. Let's put it on alias. Still, it is AP South 1B.
Correct.
Okay, I will just close it down. Okay, and let's do a dig here. Okay, you can see that you got resolved to CNAME. Okay, you got this. Then again, there was another query on this resolved domain name, and then you got the actual IP address behind it. Okay, so that is what browser also did.
What is this 245? What is, I understood that. What is this 245 IN?
245. Okay, let's. I'll tell you what exactly.
Okay, fine, no problem. Yeah, that I understood. Yeah, canonical name is just a aliasing. I mean, it's a reference to the one more record set within your records under that particular domain.
Now,
and alias is actually the which goes to the directly to the IP address of the server. Correct?
Okay, I'll come back to alias.
Okay.
So CNAME is just a bridge between two domain names. Okay, record sets, let's say. Now you asked about what is that 245. So whenever if I hover around this cname.faultycoder.com, so here you'll see a number like TTL. Okay, so when you talk about TTL, so time to live record here. So if I do a dig again for this, okay, you will see that it is 164. Okay, earlier it is
245.
So okay, I'll again do a CNAME. Okay, so this time, okay, time passed or something like that. It is 299 again, or maybe some session is there. So this TTL gives you like, okay, how much time browser will cache this value. Okay, it will not always, whenever you hit google.com, right, or whenever you hit faultycoder.com or whatever, it's not like advised to hit domain name server every time, because you will be charged for it. Okay, how many queries you will make, you will charge for it. Now there is a trade-off. Okay, let's say I have this IP address, okay, 37. It got like killed off somewhere. Okay, first of all, it is not advised to keep your IP addresses or keep your resource hard coded here. But let's say in a happy scenario that I just kept my IP address here. Then let's say if this got killed, okay, and I had so much confidence in my machine that I kept the TTL as 1 day. Okay. Now, whenever you'll hit the cname.faultycoder.com, so what will happen? It will resolve to this. Okay. And this internally will get resolved to this. Okay. And this server is not there anymore. I have a TTL of this. So you cannot do anything. You cannot do anything because your browser, unless and until they do some hard kind of reset or something like that, will be at mercy of God to wait to just believe that they'll have some patience and they'll come back after a day. And then browsers will make another DNS query, will cache the response, and then the whole flow will move forward. So that is what we say, like keeping a TTL is a strategic decision. So why actually no one uses this hard coding, okay? But you will use some other internal domain name here, which internally will point to your underlying resources. So that will not change, but your underlying resources will change. Okay, so it's like you are upbringing your backend application IP addresses here and directly punching them down here. So it will not help you in the case of disaster or scenarios, like unwanted scenarios. Okay, so we'll talk about aliases here. Okay, I talked about that it is not advisable. Now comes the question, like what is advisable then? Okay, so what you can do in aliases is you can put load balancer URLs, or you can put CloudFront distribution URL, or you can put your okay, so load balancer will be like application load balancer or classic load balancer or network load balancer, or you can also put CloudFront distribution and VPC endpoints or something like that. But here, as we are discussing about websites, so we can put application load balancer URL here. Okay, so the ARN which we use, right? The ARN, whenever we'll create an application, any service or anything here in AWS, we'll get an ARN associated with it, right? So we can do that. Okay, so I don't have a load balancer up and running. That's where the aliases differ in CNAME. Okay, so you need not have to have IP address, okay, associated with it, but whenever there is AWS resource running in your AWS umbrella, okay, take an example of load balancer. Okay, so technically you can use CNAME as well, because it is not underlying IP address. Okay, you are using a domain, okay, a host name. Okay, but you will be charged for it if you use CNAME. But if you use alias, as it is internal AWS resource, so there is no pricing associated with it. So you will be an advantage there. Okay.
So ELB name is a CNAME or A name? Vivekar.
No. You can here you can use it as CNAME or A name as well. That does not really matter. But when you talk about CNAME does not work on the parent domain. Okay, it will not work here. Like if you just want to enter faultycoder.com, CNAME will not work out. Okay, let me go back here and try to explain. This will translate into IP addresses.
Correct.
Okay. But in Route 53, you can use aliases. Okay, aliases will internally point to AWS underlying resources, like an ELB URL. Okay, but they'll be part of your IPv4 traffic translation. Okay, when you talk about AAA, 4 times A, so they will talk about IPv6 traffic translation. Okay, there are two network models, right? IPv4 and IPv6. Okay,
right.
If we are clear here, then we'll move to CNAMEs. Okay, but these things like A and 4 times A record, they work on parent domain. Okay, they don't need something associated with it, like blog.faultycoder.com. They don't need that. They will translate the main root traffic, that is faultycoder.com. Punch in faultycoder.com. Yeah.
So, okay. If you want to go to the parent name only, like www.faulty.com, then you have to use the A record or the 4 times A. So if you CNAME will work on something dot parent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So now this translates to subdomain. Okay. Does not work on parent domain. Okay. If you want to. Okay. Now we talked about aliases and we talked about CNAME. Okay. Now let's. Okay. If you there is one more thing which I want to talk about here. Okay. Just eye for observation here. So whenever I choose, let's say a CNAME, okay, and I move back to aliases, okay, I get an option of evaluate health target, target health, okay. So this is actually comes handy in the case of disaster mitigation. Okay, let's say your whole one site is down. Let's say easy is down or something is down. Okay, so what you can do is you can have your let's say a load balancer or your in our case we'll see EC2 instances. Okay, so EC2 instance health check, okay, which will be pinging that particular IP in certain interval, and then whenever that is down, right, what we can do is we can use that health check to make sure that our website is still up and running. Okay, so these things will come handy. Okay, so we'll see that. Let's go to aliases IPv4 and let's see this something interesting. Okay, if CNAME is fine, I'm going to delete this one. Okay, let's keep it here for time being. Okay, let's. You asked about TTL as well, so you want me to change the TTL? Okay, let's change the TTL. Okay, so I changed the TTL for this to 60 seconds. So how we can see the TTL is we need to go back again and do a dig on alias dot, and this time you will see like it's 59 seconds. Okay, it got changed. Okay. Okay, so by default, whenever you select whether it is alias or not, so for the exam, like if you have to draw a line somewhere, so when to use alias, whenever you have your underlying resources running in AWS umbrella, it's the only option you should check, like alias, because CNAME and other things will charge you money. Okay, so alias is the thing which you have to go for. Okay. For the exam, if there is any question. Okay, now what happens is, like we talked about record set type, we talked about, okay, whether it is alias or it is running somewhere else or it is IP translation or something like that. We talked about TTL, and then there is some other fancy thing called as routing policy. Okay,
one second, please. 1 second. So what is alias? Yes and no. Just wait right there.
Okay, so alias here, are we using an alias? We are not using an alias. That is what it is. When, okay, so I talked about that when to use alias, whenever you are running your AWS instances.
Okay, so ELB or whatever.
CloudFront or something which you can expose it to outside world, use alias. Currently, I don't have an ELB running in the backend. So that's where I was not going there. I'm proceeding
actually
ahead with
actual IP address. Okay.
Yeah. So here I'm just choosing some TTL, and here I gave my IP addresses, right? So that is what it was. So from where I got the IP address, IP addresses I got from my instances which were running already.
Gotcha.
So let's say this is running in Ireland. Okay, so I can choose from there. Okay, just hold on to it. So this is simple weighted latency failover means let's see what are all the options available. So there is something called as routing policy as simple. Okay, then there is something called as weighted, then latency, then failover, geolocation, and multi-value answer. Okay, so I'll try to explain all here first, and then we'll see the answer. Simple is just like you give some options to client, like in our case browser, and browser will choose like where to hit. Okay, let's see that in action. I have noted down all my IP addresses beforehand. So this machine is running in Mumbai. Okay, so AP South 1B. So what we will do is we'll send this, and we can give multiple IP addresses here. Okay, just we'll see it in action. And here I'm giving it as Ireland as well. Okay, so I gave these two IPs now, and I'm waiting on save records. So here you can see that if you scroll like this, so time to live is 60 seconds, and no other routing policy is there. So it's like just the default routing policy. Let's take this record and do a dig on it. So this time you will see you got two options. Okay, so this can be termed as client side load balance. Okay, we are giving browser a choice, like wherever you want you can hit. Okay. Okay, so browser, when it queried alias.faultycoder.com, it got two responses. Now it's up to browser like where it wants to hit. There is no restriction there. Okay, so this is one basic client side routing.
Okay.
Okay. Or okay, so we'll create a new record set now, and we'll call it as weighted.faultycoder.com, and I'll take these IP addresses again, but pin somewhere. Okay, weighted.faultycoder. So if simple is clear, we'll move to the another routing policy. It is actually simple. That's why it is simple.
Right.
Yeah. So we are starting with something simple, but we have other things as well. So now what we are going to do is like we'll create a weighted routing policy. So consider it like you have a scenario where you have a main site, okay, and so here you can give weight like consider it as 70. Okay. Okay, and I'm not associating any health checks currently, but let's just move forward. So this time you will see there is weighted.faultycoder.com. You have a resolution address this, and you have time to live as 60, and you have a weight of 70. Okay, and ID is weighted.something. So let's create another one. Okay, we'll and here we'll give the value as okay, and we'll choose the weight. Let's say here we are giving 20. Okay, so here you'll see I created the same record. Okay,
right.
That's where the Route 53, what it will do is, we'll see how many requests are coming for weighted.faultycoder.com. Okay, then it will check, okay, these are the values associated with it, but there is a weighted routing policy. So out of 100, 70 I need to give to this, okay, and the other 20 I need to give this, or what is in the documentation that these numbers don't matter actually. Okay, so whatever we can give 70 or 700, but it will calculate average based on the records whatever we have. Okay, and then divert the traffic around. Like let's say total is here 90, right? So 90 will be the new 100. Okay, and out of that 90, like it will calculate, okay, what percentage of 70 it is. So out of that, it will transfer the traffic.
Yeah, otherwise it has to, okay. Otherwise it has to have a validation for a percentage. In this case, you don't require. Okay, I understood.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do a dig here. Okay, before going for dig, let's check whether it is working or not first. Okay. Okay, so it got resolved to AP South 1B. Okay, so this is 237, and 237 is Mumbai, and Mumbai is South.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so this is making sense. Let's do a dig here. Let's see what exactly. So you can see that you got only one response. Okay, though you had entries twice for this, but you got only one response. But this is primarily on. Okay, let's see whether we'll be able to get the other one as well. Not confirming that you will get it, but otherwise I might have to try it.
Maybe different percentage.
Yeah, I'll just go back and change it here. I'll make it 20. Okay, and I'll make the other one as 70, just to make sure that you are getting the other response as well.
Right.
Okay?
Oh, it has time to live for 1 minute, so probably it takes that.
Yeah. Let's. It again came back there. Okay, we got it. 254. Okay.
Right.
So you will get one response based on the number of traffic, like how much you are sending it there, like the percentage based division. So this is weighted. Okay.
Right.
So when to use weighted? Now just have a discussion, short discussion, like when to use weighted. So weighted, I feel like is a good option when you have a hot side and a cold side. Running. So when I say hot side in AWS, so like your full-blown application which is running there, and but you also want your small disaster recovery side, okay, to be up and running, at least functional. Okay, so you can transfer like out of 100 requests and 2 requests there and see whether everything is working fine or not. Okay, so this can act as a very minimal solution there, where you can route a traffic from the actual live traffic to there. Okay, so this can be a good option, like minimal changes, maximum result kind of setup. Okay, so that's where I feel like weighted can outperform other solutions, like different load balancings you can have somewhere here and there, but I believe this will work. Okay.
Okay,
cool. So then we have something called as latency. Okay, so how latency works is you are hitting something.com. Okay, you'll be hitting it from, let's say, take an example, India. Okay, then you have your, like in our case, consider ours is a global application, okay? And you have EC2 instances running in Mumbai, then in Ireland, and then in US East. Okay, now for a good user experience, what you should do, latency. You can okay, let's go a step back. Let's say someone is hitting from India, and if you're diverting your traffic to US East, is it a good option, or is it a good user experience? There will be some lag. Okay?
Latency.
And let's say if you are working on some media application, okay, where you might need to upload a file or download a file and do everything that around it. So maybe for a static HTML, it might not be a big problem, but if you have an interactive website, definitely there will be a problem, or definitely there will be a lag. Then there will be more lag if your client is on some slow internet. Okay, now there are many aspects around it. So definitely, if you have your application instance or running close to the client, or you should always make sure your client is hitting on the instance or your application instance which is closest to it. Okay, so there are two things which I talked here: closest and latency. Okay, sometimes what happens, though user is hitting from India and the application is sitting in India, but there will be some lag in the like data center, or there is some problem and there will be more latency. Okay, but
even though it's closest, but
yeah,
it's going to be latency.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, because latency is something different. Okay, it's not geo spatial routing policy. Okay, so we talk two things here because it is very fine line. Like people usually consider if it is far, then there will be more latency. If it is near, there will be less latency. Okay, but sometimes it can be exclusive as well. Okay, mutually exclusive. So in order to discuss this, okay, let's come back to the topic. So what you should do is, like, you should first make sure your routing is going to the lowest latency. So what you can do is you can make sure, like, okay, you are hitting the nearest, the lowest latency routing. So you will get that particular answer. Okay, when you do the dig, that will be based on from where the client is hitting. Okay, so if you will hit on the same endpoint, you might get something which is nearest to you, and if I'll hit, I'll get something which is nearer to me. Okay, that is latency based routing. Are we fine here? Okay, cool. Let's talk about geolocation because it is also a bit close to it. Okay, so what happens is in geolocation, you decide from where the traffic is coming, directly you will transfer it to that particular nearby application. So in our setup, if traffic is coming from India, okay, we will direct it to Mumbai instance. Okay, we will not worry about anything else. If traffic is coming from US, okay, we will direct it to US instance. And if it is Europe, we'll push it to Ireland instance. Okay, so this is geolocation, nothing else, no other clutter here and there. And then there is something called as.
So what is the default one? Let's say if you don't have record for any country, do we need to specify a default one, or it's going to pick any of the one?
Yes, you have to do that. Okay, so you have a default option as well. Okay, yeah, it's a good question. Thanks for calling it up. Okay, so now we discussed on latency and geolocation. Let's discuss something interesting, that is failover. Okay, so in failover, what we do is we'll have a site as one as primary, okay, and the other site as a secondary. Okay, now you can only have primary and secondary, you cannot have tertiary. That is first thing. So what happens is there will be health checks associated with primary, okay, and health check. Okay, so whenever health check fails, so what will happen based on the threshold, whatever we'll configure, what happens, you will immediately fail over to secondary, and Route 53 will stop giving, like in our case, let's say IP addresses to client. So when it will not give that particular IP address or zone which is failing, so it will be BAU for the clients. Okay, so failover is very handy and very interesting offering from.
What it is? What it is? Is it something? What does it give to the client? BLU or something?
BAU, like they will not be aware, like business as usual.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So there, like clients will not see that there is something big going on, like there is a failure, because you'll have a backup solution.
Correct.
Okay. Now this is failover, and there is something called as multi-value answer. Okay. Now, so like you saw multi-value answer in simple as well. Okay, but simple, the answers were static. Okay, you will have a question definitely if I'm not wrong. Difference between simple and multi-value. So in multi-value, these options were static. Means, let's say I did give 3 server IP addresses and something happened in between and 2 failed, but still client have that, right? And no one is preventing client from load balancing to the 2 failed instances, technically speaking, right? Browser is free, and then they'll say like, okay, fine, it is not working, what I should do? So in the multi-value, there will be a fine tuning, like if something is failing, so what happens is that will not be sent as an answer. Okay, so let's check them one by one. Are we good with all the current, like whatever we have discussed so far?
Yeah, I think latency we have discussed it a little bit. But if you're doing a demo, then we can good. But otherwise, we can
no.
discuss.
So latency based, I believe we discussed latency only in bit more detail.
Okay.
So what exactly you want in latency? Like,
no, are we going to do it? Are we going to do a demo or?
Yeah, we can do the demo, but I was starting with multi-value first.
Sure, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
So I'm creating a record as multi-value, and let's just should not do it. I'll write it as multi. Paste it, multi-value, multi. I'm not associating it to a health check. We'll go and do that afterwards. So we have a record as multi, and then again I'll create a multi, same thing, and give the second IP address this time. Okay, and I'll change the routing policy as multi. Need to check whether I can have the same ID. Okay, so ID is already there. Multi2, and moving ahead. Now you have 2 multi options. So their LPTLs are okay. So when you change one, it will get changed to both the records. Okay, and, these are multi routing. So let's copy this. You will see 2 records. Okay, nothing fancy. Now, right. Let's add health check. Okay, so I have 237 and 254. 237 is Mumbai and 254 is Ireland. Okay, by luck, it's correct. 237 is Mumbai. So I'm adding a health check for Mumbai and I'm updating it. Okay, so we have a health check for Mumbai. Earlier, there was a tooltip which became static here, and it was annoying. So now I have to tell you how exactly you can set up the health check. Okay, I'll show you. Just bear with me. Okay.
Sure.
We have an option. We have an option here. We'll go there because I have 2 health checks set up. We'll set the third one. So associate with health check, I'm giving it as Mumbai, and this one is Ireland. So what we'll do, we'll come here and add the Ireland health check. Okay. Now both of our multi stuff is associated with health checks. We can go back to health checks dashboard. And see that both of my instances are pretty much good. Okay, healthy. Then what I have to do is I'll go back quickly to Ireland. And,
oh, these are the names of the EC2 names. Okay. The Ireland,
yeah.
Mumbai.
So, yeah. So Ireland is like it's running in Ireland. That's why I gave Ireland.
No. Yeah, I was confused. Where was this names getting picked up in the drop down in the health check? Now I understood.
No, you did not understood. I'm sorry. Pardon me. Okay. So when I went to hosted zones, okay, and when I'm selecting multi, and I'm selecting health checks associated, right? So these are the health check names. Okay, health check names. These are not EC2 instances name. So I'll come back here.
Okay.
Okay. Let's create a new health check. We'll just quickly deviate from the demo, but let's create a health check. Here I gave US or Virginia. Okay. It will be endpoint, and I can give my Virginia IP address here.
Okay, there's one more creamy layer here. Okay.
Okay, and I can give failure threshold as 2. It takes 30 seconds. If I move it to 10 seconds, it will be charging more money, and similarly for other options as well.
What is failure threshold?
Like how many failures we will count before tagging it as failed.
Oh, okay, got you. Okay.
Okay, and it is hitting on the root path, like directly the server path. You can also have a host name, or for us it is IP address, and like where all in which all regions it will do a health check and all those things. So we are not considering or adding particular region. We can just put all regions. This is by default. And moving to next, do you want to create an alarm? I don't want to create an alarm, but what will happen, like if you create an alarm, you will get SMS notifications or emails in your like inboxes, like something failed, come and fix it. So I just created an health check. Now we have 3, Virginia, so we'll go back to hosted zones.
You'll see one more there, okay.
Yeah. So you'll see Virginia as well. Okay. Yeah, so we are coming here to Ireland, and instance state, No, I'll
Stop.
not terminate.
Stop. Okay.
Yes, I have to again do the same. Okay, so we are stopping it. We'll wait for this health check to reflect that. Okay, meantime, what we'll do, we'll quickly go back to our dashboard and check the other options.
Okay.
So we have checked multi, we have checked simple, we have checked weighted. Let's create another record and see what is the. Okay, so there is failover, there is latency, there is geolocation. Okay, so let's check latency. Okay, so which our resources are running in US, EP, Southeast 2 or 1? Two. Okay, this is start. It's still healthy. Okay, all are healthy. Let's give them some time. AP South. Okay. Here I'll give my IP address. Okay. I'm giving latency and TTL is 1 second, 1 minute. Okay, we have created this one. And okay, so this is unhealthy now.
Right.
Okay, perfect. Let's go and do a big multi. So this time you will see only one record coming to your way. Okay.
Gotcha.
So this is
but if you have a simple, if you have a simple, it would have been given the two things, right?
Yeah, because there is no health check associated. So in simple terms itself, you can reject it. Means there is no health check, right? You are hard coding whatever value you give here.
Correct. Yeah, there's no additional checkups there in the simple. Okay.
Yes, if you still want to check it. So Ireland IP address was 254, right? We have it configured for alias.
Yeah, good.
So if you do dig on alias dot, you'll still see that.
Super.
Okay.
Good.
So okay, multi is done. Now I believe you are fine with health checks. You are fine with
weighted
other things. Okay, let's go back to the latency. So I'm setting latency now. I am saving it. Record set has not been changed. Okay, pardon. I'm creating another record set. It is also latency, and I'm setting it as 1 minute. And, Northern Virginia I'm picking this time. Setting this and latency. Okay, perfect. Yes, so when you enter the IP address first, right? So it will automatically pick the region associated with it. Okay, so last time I didn't added the IP address, so it will. So I should have told you that first. But latency, US East. Okay. Now let's check this. So we have our latency set. Now we'll do a dig on latency. So I'm getting 237. Okay, that is Mumbai because I'm hitting from India. Can you do NS lookup? You type this command.
Oh, from my command.
Yes. Yes, NS lookup dot. I'm just copying it and giving it to you.
That's okay. NS lookup. Uh, 54, 197, 43, 47.
Okay, so you are going to US East region, or what you can do is just copy this latency.faultycoder.com and you would have it directly like where exactly you are going.
Oh, in the browser?
Yeah.
Did you send the URL here in the chat or somewhere?
No, you can use the same URL, latency.faultycoder.com.
Yeah, I just asked you. Okay.
No, I never, this chat never works for me. I don't know why. I tried now also, but it was not allowing me to type.
That's okay. Okay. Yeah, it's going to US East 1E.
Okay, cool. So based on latency, it is routing. You can still go back and read more about it if you want to, but this is
So
what it is.
how is it going for your 237? Because you have two records there. Okay.
Because I'm hitting from India. Okay, so it is taking from where the query is being made. Okay, so the query is being made, and for me there is no latency at the domain name side. So I'll get that particular IP address as response for me. Now a bigger question comes: how a DNS server checks or maintains where exactly is more latency. Okay, so if you are interested, you can check this because it is a bigger problem actually, because how a domain name server handles so many requests and still is able to maintain that where is less latency and give us the correct answer. Okay, I'll encourage. So we have completed all. Let's go back to the failover. Okay. Okay, so what we will do now is we'll create another failover, and this time
Get the Ireland one.
no, I'll not give Ireland. Let's kill our other one as well.
Okay.
Okay, so failover Mumbai is primary. Failover primary, and I have to have a health check here. Okay, so this is my Mumbai. I'm creating it. Then create failover. 1 minute. Failover secondary. Okay, if I try to have another primary, right? 1 second. Go back. So we'll see how it works. The IP addresses. So I'm failing over from Mumbai to Virginia. Okay, so if I try to create the same primary one, and let's say I am adding the Virginia, so it will not allow me because there cannot be two primaries. Okay? So from failover.quality.com. Yes. So I'll move it to failover secondary, and I have the health check, and okay, our failovers are created. So what I'll do is, if I'll check this in browser, it should go to, it is already there, close this one, and so it is translating to Mumbai one. Okay, makes sense.
One failover dot faulty, and also trying parallel faulty folder dot. Unknown host for me. Fail. Okay. Fail over. Okay, it's coming up. Yeah, it's Mumbai. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So I was going to do a dig. You can see you will get only one response. That is what. But anyways, you already confirmed, so not a problem. So okay, so I got the failover here. Now what we'll do is this was primary. Yeah, I'll move it to 60 seconds. Yeah, let me see if it is reflected. I wanted it to be.
So TTLs are not shown in the NS lookup. Maybe a different command here, right?
Yeah, exactly. That is why I was using dig.
Oh, so do you have a dig command, or it's a different command here?
I have. I'm not
okay,
sure.
that's
I
okay.
need to check.
That's okay. That's okay. If you're in hand here.
But anyways, that is not important, frankly speaking.
No.
Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah. Okay.
So okay. Okay. So let's go and kill the Mumbai instance. That is
Mumbai
the
instance.
Okay. So let's go to Mumbai. I never traveled this fast in my life. Like, I'm bouncing between Virginia, Mumbai, and
Jet speed.
so it's like,
Even AWS is getting confused. What is happening here?
okay, so I'm stopping it. Now you can tell me, right? It will, the moment it goes unhealthy. So Prasanna, I'll be stopping after this.
Okay.
You can go back and check on the geolocation as just
sure.
your homework. It is not on the tougher side, but we already discussed the gist around it.
Yeah. Okay.
So with this, we'll be concluding the 253. Okay, we did discuss pretty interesting issues. If you have any problem, you can post me your question. I'll share this recording as well.
Okay. I think geo mixing also there's one more, so I can check on that as well.
Geo mix, if I'm not wrong, we covered all. So geolocation is there. Let me check what I added. Geo proximity. Okay. So it is part of, if I'm not wrong, geolocation. Just have a check.
Okay.
So I
think it's failed over now to Ireland now. Okay. Mumbai is gone. Mumbai is gone.
Oh, perfect. Thanks for confirming.
Oh, but I can see the, yeah, but I can see fail over to 47 Ireland.
It's not Ireland, it's Virginia.
Oh, 47 is Ireland? Okay, yeah, Virginia, yeah.
Because Ireland we already killed today.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Cases.
Yeah, it is coming as fun.
Yeah, correct. Browser
okay,
is
so,
not still recovered.
Okay, so first of all, thanks for participating. It is very encouraging. So I'll be closing off session now. I have to jump on to the other thing.
Sure.
So I'm just stopping the share now.